Well. Welcome into the Wit and Grit podcast.
Hello, hello.
Hmm.
Good to be back.
Great to be back. I got a new background we're workshopping a little bit. Check it out for the video audience. Got John Elway and Terrell Davis. And then also, if you could see it, I got my Cadillac shirt. What do you think?
Looks really good. I like it a lot. And it's perfect timing too, right?
Perfect timing as Cadillac is currently qualifying. Great stuff.
That's right.
But once we get into the show here, we're going to talk a little bit about Scrubs is back and it's good. What is?
Yeah, that's right.
Reboot? Two in a row. I'll tell you what my other favorite reboot we had was. Then we're going to talk about NFL free agency getting started next week. That legal tampering period just a couple days away. Can't wait to see what's going to happen there. And then we're going to go through F1 at the end of the show, closer to the end, and we're going to talk all about what's happened so far in FP1, FP2. They're down in Melbourne.
That's right. Yeah, we got a couple practices under the belt. We got qualifying later on today, and then the race tomorrow night, 11 p.m. Eastern. Excuse me. You'd ask me what I was doing for it, and I was like, what time is it again? And you said 11 p.m. I was like, oh my gosh, I guess having some coffee throughout the afternoon. That's late.
I don't give ESPN a shout out often, but I will say that with all the time zone confusion, they've already got it for the Eastern time zone on a page where you can just go look at it. So
yeah, nice.
Pretty nice. I'm sure it probably auto adjusts to your time zone, but
yeah.
Anyways, everything going on.
That's right. Yep. So lots to talk about. Got a little bit of NFL, some free agency stuff, some draft around the corner. So should be a good episode, right?
And Oscar Piastri.
There we go.
Oscar Piastri's at home in Melbourne, and he's impressing last I checked. Is he going to take the first race of the season again? The home race? We'll find out.
Welcome to Wit and Grit, where Ian and Sean break down sports betting, pop culture, or whatever is on their minds. The Wit and Grit Podcast.
The Wit and Grit Podcast. We just love the music. We let it play out.
Absolutely. You got to lay out for that track.
Well, before we get into anything else today, Scrubs is back, and I don't mean back in the way that most reboots come back, where you watch it and feel sad. I mean actually back.
Right. And after the, season 9, if we even want to talk about that, it wasn't really what a lot of people were expecting. We thought, okay, they're trying it again. It didn't really work last time. So I was genuinely surprised.
And let's set the table for everybody who hasn't watched it yet, because you should. Here's the situation. Since leaving Sacred Heart in 2009, let's stop right there. Stop right there. No one's addressed it. What's going on? Was season 9 that originally was going to be a brand new show just using Scrubs characters that ABC, who made the show the entire time they did it, even though it was on NBC bought the show. ABC always made it. Yep. And ABC said, no, we got to keep the name Scrubs. So they pretend. Yeah, they pretend to take down the hospital. They have Turk and Perry leave. They go to teach people who we don't care for at all. There's no good characters. They try to put in a random hot Australian for some reason.
Decent acting, but they didn't develop them.
Right. They didn't develop. It's not like the character's fault. It's not like Franco's to blame. It's just, Aziz Ansari was on Scrubs for a very little time, and his character is somehow better.
Right. And really all he was there to do was annoy Dr. Cox.
Yeah. And still it was better. Just the Muppet scene alone.
Oh,
so since leaving Sacred Heart in 2009, because apparently that was the gas leak year. I mean, how did the writer's strike cut season 7 into like 7 or 8 episodes, and that season is still somehow better?
I know.
Than the reboot, the continue that they did the first time.
And that reboot was also just such a it felt like such a slap in the face because of how well they landed the plane with 8.
And it was so different.
Yeah.
It was so different. Like they went from being in an actual hospital where all the rooms are turned into dressing rooms and things like that to being on a soundstage. So you're going to change out the whole cast of a show. You're going to change out the place the show takes place, and you're going to expect us just to not notice. Like everything's different.
The hospital was kind of a character, in a way.
Yes.
Like you can't just take that out.
So JD has become a concierge doctor to wealthy people, essentially selling out for an easy life. But this year, 2026, he serendipitously returns to Sacred Heart for a patient and finds Dr. Cox is still there as chief of medicine. How? I still don't understand. When are they going to explain that? And Cox, he's struggling to connect his legendary abrasive style with a generation of HR-protected interns who aren't going to just take it.
Right. I like the setup. JD had a patient that needed some sort of special care, I believe, that was only offered at Sacred Heart, and he needed to go check up on that patient. So that's what.
Well, not only Sacred Heart, but something that needed a hospital.
Yeah, exactly. That was close enough because I believe he lives an hour away or something like that. Anyway.
Yeah, but
that's the point. It was I liked it as a reason to bring him back. It made sense. And the setup was good. You had the tension, kind of the old school medicine versus the new world, something you can actually kind of tell stories with.
I mean, Zach Braff is back as JD. Donald Faison is as Turk. Sarah Chalk as Elliot. By the way, before I even continue, let's talk about Sarah Chalk for a second.
Sure.
She's everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
She's doing so much. I didn't know. Sarah Chalk's kids must be independent now, and she needs work, and like people want to give it to her.
Right.
When she showed up on How I Met Your Mother, I was like, okay, recency bias, trying to get some of the Scrubs energy and get the fans over. But on Animal Control, season 3, Joel McHale's character in a relationship with Sarah Chalk.
Oh, okay.
Wasn't on the show before at all.
Yeah. No, I mean, she does a good job with, I don't know if you have seen episode 3 yet. I watched episode 3 last night, and it's kind of an Elliot-centric episode, and it was very good, and she did a great job with it.
Frick. Does she say frick at all?
I don't remember. I was trying to recall. I actually don't think so.
All right, well, John C. McGinley is back as well as Judy Reyes. So, I mean, where they have recurring roles.
Right.
Judy Reyes are back in recurring roles. Yeah, because, I mean, you've seen episode 3. I haven't. I've seen the first 2 episodes. John C. McGinley's in episode 1 and in the pilot to kind of set it up.
Right.
And then without giving anything away, because it's a great episode and you should watch it, they write it in a way where he doesn't need to be present right away again. I'll just leave it there. If that confused you more, great. I didn't give it away. I mean, but we've got Vanessa Bayer, Joel Kim Booster. I mean, like a bunch of young faces. It feels like so far, at least, the one person they've kind of pitted as the anti-JD for the series to also not give anything away is like, like he's been pretty good so far. I believe it. He feels like he fits. I don't know how they did that, but it feels like he's already been in the universe. It's like The Office. They would always make the characters on The Office work in a fake office for like an hour before they started filming, just to make it real.
I didn't know that, but I thought the analogy you were going for was The Office did a good job of introducing new characters and making us feel like, oh, okay, these people are normal. That it's expected that they're here. It makes sense that they're here.
Yeah, but they also, The Office and Parks and Rec benefited greatly from their format of mockumentary style, where they were able to, you could just randomly cut to anything you needed to fill space. Right. Shout out to Abed.
Well, do we want to talk about one of the kind of major plot points of episode 1? I know you mentioned no spoilers.
Yeah, I mean, mild spoiler on one of the 3 twists for Scrubs. I mean, for the pilot. This is for the pilot. It's something everybody else knows, but they have JD and Elliot divorced.
Right, which, is an interesting choice, right?
It is and it isn't. So I remember I listened to a bunch of that Fake Doctors, Real Friends podcast during the pandemic and everything. And I remember them talking about how, like, they weren't sure if they were going to do JD and Elliot together or if it was going to be like this kind of lesson where it falls out. But, like, the show works better if they're not together. Of like a better example is New Girl.
Yeah.
when Jake Johnson and Zoe, spoilers for New Girl, been done forever.
Seen it
Literally
7 times through.
been over for 11 years. You hopefully saw some of it if you're going to get to it.
Yeah.
But when Jake Johnson and Zoe Deschanel are together the first time, and then they break up in the famously hated Mars Landing episode, where a lot of sensible people are just like, oh, this is so stupid to break up over this. But it's like the metaphor is every breakup's usually about something stupid. Like someone's caught feelings in some way or another, and it's like you get hyper fixated on one issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but the real reason behind both of those curtains was the fact that it wasn't as funny. It wasn't funny to have them just be nice to each other and be a loving couple. And then it's hard to do comedy if you have like a disrespectful set of people together because you're not trying to portray negative relationships. So the easiest thing is to just keep some of your main characters single so that anyone they encounter can be turned on a dime, a reoccurring role.
It also adds an interesting layer, right? You know, we know that in the original series, they fell in love, they were on and off, then they did ultimately get married. And so it adds like a kind of interesting layer that we know all of that history and now they're not together, but still have to work together in a way.
What's the kid situation? Do
we know
if they have more kids? Than Sam?
He said kids in the intro.
So him and Elliot have at
Probably
least
have at
one
least
child.
one because Sam is Kim's.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll show up disgruntled. Have you seen Peaky Blinders?
No, actually, I've heard really good things about it.
Peaky Blinders is great, but without giving anything away, really, just every season there's a time jump. Like it's not like, oh, a time jump. Like you don't get pissed. You expect it every time. It's showing one family progressing through the different classes in London during that time, post World War I, pre-World War II. Anything important you remember coming up in World War II? Exactly. That's what the movie's about, coming out this month, I believe, on Netflix.
Okay.
And that Barry Cogan guy, I'm probably saying his name wrong, but you know who I'm talking about.
Sure.
You'd have no idea.
Let's keep it rolling.
If you look up, while I'm talking, if you look up Peaky Blinders cast for the movie real quick, you'll see the guy I'm talking about. He was in the Bad Harry Potters.
The Bad Harry Potters.
Yeah, you know I'm talking about. Fantastic Beasts. He was in those.
Oh, okay.
The bad ones. No one name one moment you love from the Fantastic Beasts movies. No one has a moment. They don't like it.
Okay.
They were like, oh, here's the stunning conclusion. I was like, who cares?
Yeah.
You guys recast Johnny Depp. He wasn't even that good, but at least it was the guy. So I digress. But what I'm saying is, in that movie, the whole plot is that's his son. In the whole show, his son is not adult human.
Right. Okay.
He's a kid.
No.
In the first couple seasons, there isn't even a kid. So what I'm saying is, like, you're seeing a lot of classic media we enjoyed using hey, we actually waited long enough to where the fictional character would be an adult now, so we could cast somebody who's young with a big following and kind of keep this thing going.
Right.
That brings me to the question of who should they cast for JD's kids? I mean, are they going to bring in somebody good?
Do you think they're going to be a plot point? They don't have to be, right? We know he has them. We know that it's a responsibility in his life. It can still be about JD and the cast at Sacred Heart. I don't know that we need, I mean, maybe they are, and that maybe it'll be good, but I won't be certainly like upset or anything if we don't get to see his kids or really even hear much about them other than they exist. Because I mean, it's a busy life, right? His life as a doctor, or whatever other responsibilities he may be given, and stuff like that.
But if they're going back to what makes Scrubs great, and I know Bill Lawrence isn't necessarily a showrunner, he's just an executive producer because of his deal with Apple.
Yep.
But there's a parents episode. There's JD's brother's involvement. Like the way they were able to use JD's brother to fill in for certain things, the way we know they wanted to use John Ritter as the dad to tell so many good stories. Unfortunately, but his unfortunate passing shifted everything to the brother. There's no way they're not going to capitalize on that with the kids, but maybe not in the first season, to your point. Maybe they wanted to make it work and not do too much.
Because we have seen Scrubs with these showrunners nail, do a really good job of introducing a child character with Jack, Dr. Cox's son. Yep. I thought he actually added a lot, had really meaningful scenes. I mean, gosh, the scene where you think Dr. Cox is in therapy, but he's just talking to his son the whole episode is so great.
And I think that's Bill Lawrence's kid.
I think so too. Yeah. So, I mean, they have done it right before. I just don't know that it's necessary. You know what I'm saying? But if they do it, I expect them to do it well because they've proven already that they can.
So, I mean, we don't need to get into any more of the episode. The first episode, I
so
think
worth your time. So worth
the
your
original numbers were like 11.4 million people streamed it in the first week.
Mm-hmm. And
It's
I mean,
on
I texted
ABC,
you right after I watched
it's
it.
also on Hulu.
Right, ABC and Hulu. Sorry, my connection dropped for a second there. But yeah, I texted you right after I watched it saying, you know, one of the best episodes, honestly, of the series. I thought they did a really good job bringing it back.
Yeah, so the verdict is go watch it.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get on to the NFL. What do you say?
Sure, let's do it.
Part 1, I've got a top 10 mock draft with NFL execs weighing in. Let's just see what we think of this.
Sure.
You know, we don't need to belabor the point. NFL draft is in April. Free agency opens Monday, and the intel from Combine Week is fresh. So 4 team executives, 1 GM, 2 assistant GMs, and 1 VP of player personnel weighed in on where the top 10 are going, speaking exclusively with The Athletic. So let's go through it.
All right.
Vegas, Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana. Unanimous among execs. Let's move on. It actually
Easy.
came out since I typed our script. The Athletic already said sources are saying they're going to take Mendoza. Like, they're not even trying to pretend they're not anymore.
Why?
It's just done.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, it's actually smart to come out and say that, because if there is another team that's like, yo, we actually really want him, now they know they got to bring it. I mean,
they got to bring it. They got to trade for it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you always got to bring it for number 1 overall, but saying that, you know, you've really got to overdo it. Anyway, not a surprise at all.
And I'm continuing to say this. I'll say it every week. I don't care. I'm like a broken record here. But if the Raiders trade that pick for a haul, I will be so mad because it would help them so much. I want them to be the Raiders and take a quarterback when they've got no one to protect him, no one for him to get the ball to except a tight end. And the best player on defense is demanding to leave. Dallas almost made a move last night, according to Trey Wingo.
Interesting. Man, moves in the shadows of the night. But no, I mean, I figured Mendoza number 1. It has been a lock for quite a while, right? You know, if he'd come out even a couple years ago, he'd probably still have been drafted after players like Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. But with this case, I mean, with this quarterback class lacking that depth, I mean, it's obvious he's the shining star of the whole class.
Yeah, I mean, but it is interesting that it's amazing he's the first pick in the draft. The sentiment around Mendoza is that he's good, not great. So one scout floated the idea that if Mendoza came out 2 years ago, he would have been drafted after Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, maybe Bo Nix, right? Cam Ward. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to a Raiders team with, you know, new coach Clint Kubiak, installing that run-oriented offense. So franchise quarterback's going to be going to an offense that doesn't really lean heavily on the quarterback. So it's an interesting dynamic there.
Tom Brady, minority owner of the Raiders. Everyone's favorite talking point outside of, did you remember they're in Vegas? I mean, Brady said publicly he loves everything about Mendoza's game, but like, I'm seeing reports that players hate the Raiders locker room culture because of little TB12 Alex Guerrero over there, who hangs out with Tom Brady anywhere he goes now. Now that he owns the team, he can keep his guy there, but apparently people don't like him. However, the training staff got like great ratings from the report cards. So who are you to believe?
Saw some video of like Gronk responding to Logan Paul saying he would fight an NFL player, and Tom Brady was also there, and like did like a little run by the camera talking some smack. It was funny. But yeah, so basically you've got Brady out there kind of pulling his recruiting game again. Makes sense.
He said that Paul brothers said that Le'Veon Bell didn't count because he's not an active player and he's actually been boxing.
Yeah.
So he pretty much openly admitted he doesn't want to get in the ring with someone who knows how to fight.
Yeah. You saw, Le'Veon Bell reposted about that, saying like, hey, I was a football player. Let me go.
He said he was in the WWE.
I don't know, man. I really don't know what's going on there.
I hope to not know. Pick number 2, the New York Jets. Arvell Reese, edge, linebacker out of Ohio State. 3 of the 4 execs had him here. 1 exec compared him directly to Micah Parsons. The Jets have a new defensive head coach in Aaron Glenn. He's not new. He's been there a year. But, I mean, he's going to be new to winning.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. And the thing is, they'll use Reese in multiple spots just like the Giants used Abdul Carter last year.
Right. And, I mean, any dissenters there?
One exec said flat out, boom or bust to me. He may not be great, but he may not make it. He doesn't possess the game as fast. I just butchered the whole thing. He doesn't process the game as fast as you'd like. That's a very Jets pick, you know?
Yeah, right. No, it is. That's the Jets being the Jets for sure.
Pick number 3 is the Cardinals. David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. One of the top edge rushers. I've heard a lot about how the top 3 edge rushers are like in a class of their own, and then there's a bit of a fall off, but there's still more to be had. So, I mean, they couldn't get any pressure last year. I mean, just crazy. We have the Jets and the Cardinals at 2 and 3, and the Raiders at number 1. All these teams that need a quarterback, and nobody thinks that they're going to go after like Ty Simpson or anybody like that right now.
Yeah.
It just speaks volumes about how good the 2024 draft class was, or the 2023 draft class. Yeah. Whichever one it was. I guess it was the 24. Bo Nix.
You just want to give your
Caleb Williams.
Yes, 24.
Jade Daniels. I'm naming quarterbacks on their rookie deals who have playoff wins, you know?
Yep. That's crazy.
That's crazy to think about. Cam Ward is like, I wish I could
Except
dream.
Cam Ward. Yeah.
Speaking of Cam Ward, the Tennessee Titans, Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of Ohio State. I mean, so if he doesn't, that would. Other things I've seen just have the Titans being the first kind of, whoa, like, oh, they might take Jeremiah Love. They might take Carnell Tate. I think they need help on the line, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a better pick, honestly, but giving Cam Ward a reliable weapon is not the worst thing they could do. I just think the protection is more important. I mean, that's how you can turn average players into great players if the quarterback has a couple more seconds.
Yeah. I mean, one exec compared Tate to AJ Green, big, long, versatile, deep ball threat. So I guess it makes sense. You're going to get a playmaker. I mean, if you're going to get a really good wide receiver, if you think this guy's got everything to help Cam Ward be ready to just start making touchdown passes now, not a bad pick.
Yeah.
So one exec said if the top 3 edge guys are gone by pick 7 in Washington's slot, don't be surprised if the Commanders take Tate there either, if he's still there. So Tate could realistically go anywhere from 4 to 7.
All right.
Yeah. Pick 5, the New York Giants, not your same dad's Giants. Francis Moigoa, offensive tackle out of Miami. 3 of 4 execs had this. John Harbaugh's first draft with the Giants. They need help all over the offensive line, particularly at right tackle.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, Harbaugh is well aware of how you build through the trenches, so that checks out.
Pick 6, who knows what they'll do? The Cleveland Browns. Spencer Fano, offensive tackle out of Utah. The Browns have a nightmare situation. I mean, 5 primary starters on the line, all hitting free agency. One exec put it bluntly, they need O-line bad. So is Fano worth the 6 picks? One exec said no, but I'll stick one in there. So this is where a team that needs offensive line is probably going to have to reach and not stick to the whole best player available. But
yeah,
we don't even know why does Andrew Berry still have a job?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
So he'll probably make the wrong pick.
Which is very Browns as well, right? That's kind of what they tend to do most of the time.
Yeah, traded Joe Flacco. Lost a game to the Bengals. It's amazing. Well, all the execs were polled. Cleveland went out and acquired Titus Howard from the Texans and gave him an extension. So if he slots in at right tackle, that 6th pick might need to play left side. So we'll move on from there, but just interesting. You know, this is a live podcast. We're keeping it up to date for you. Pick 7, Washington Commanders. Ruben Bain, an edge rusher out of Miami. So, you know, even though the top 3 are gone, the Commanders need help. Tate's off the board. One exec compared him to Terrell Suggs. Heavy-handed, old school, physical. He actually said Bain could go as high as 2 to the Jets. I mean, Dan Quinn has a history of taking edge rushers early.
Yeah, reports are that this kid's really good. Doesn't exactly have the size you expect out of an edge rusher, but can just really get after the run game and really get under some of those larger offensive linemen. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how they slot him in wherever it is he lands.
Pick 8, New Orleans Saints. Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. I mean, the Saints need a receiver, and with the top options gone, Lemon is explosive. One exec noted they could go Jeremiah Love, the running back, instead, depending on what happens in free agency. I feel like whichever team really, really needs a running back after free agency and has a high enough pick is going to take Love unapologetically.
Yeah. And it's going to be I think it's going to be a good pick. I think he's going to do pretty well, honestly. I think his skill set translates well to the NFL.
I mean, taking Alshon Jeffrey in the first round. No, wait. Sorry.
Continue?
Ashton Genty.
Gotcha. I was like,
we're going way back. 2 letters.
Like, was he a first round pick? Okay.
But I mean, look how good the Raiders did after taking Ashton Genty. I mean, it just really helped them. They're the worst team in the league.
Right.
So I
mean, they did it.
When you don't have an offensive line, just go get a fancy car and park on the street.
Like we said, yep.
Get a garage before you get a Ferrari.
But if they don't take Jeremiah Love, the Saints at 8, perhaps the Chiefs at 9.
This is my nightmare. Pick 9, the Kansas City Chiefs. These execs have Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. 3 of the 4 had it. What's your take on the Chiefs taking a running back at 9, Sean?
I mean, you got Mahomes who got hurt back in December, and the Chiefs really kind of ran out of gas in the run game. Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, both free agents, so they actually need a back. They got to fill that roster.
Love is a player, Notre Dame product, elite athlete. There's actually intel floating around that one team had Love rated as the best player in this draft regardless of position. So more on that in a second, but Chiefs taking him at 9 makes football sense, even if it's an unusual slot for a running back, because they just have been unable to give Patrick Mahomes real playmakers since Tyreek Hill.
Right. It'd be the 3rd running back drafted in the top 10 in the last 4 years. It's the position seems to be back in a big way.
Yeah, Super Bowl MVPs on the free agency. We talked
right.
about that too. Pick number 10, finish this up, Cincinnati Bengals. Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. Bengals need to protect Joe Burrow and fix a struggling defense. One exec said the choice probably comes down to Woods or linebacker Sonny Styles.
All right,
so
we'll see what they do.
Let's go to our team, Sean. That's what we want to talk about.
Perfect. Yeah,
First of all, hold on. Hit the applause, Dan. Dan, hit the applause. Neither of our teams is picking in the top 10. Thank you, Dan. I thought he was asleep.
He might have been. It took him a second.
Wow, you got to call him out like that. He's going to mute you. All right, first, Sean, tell me about the Dolphins.
Yeah, it seems like the Tua era is over, right? Dolphins releasing him, or expected to anyway, before the new league year. New coach, Jeff Hafley, new GM, John Eric Sullivan, really kind of tearing this thing down. Tyreek Hill's gone. Bradley Chubb's gone. Bit of a purge down in Miami right now.
And a lot of those moves we didn't really love when they made them, but you kind of just bought in because it was your team. But we thought like, oh, shoot, nobody wants to pay back Bradley Chubb, but they do. Oh, man, nobody wants Tyreek Hill, but they do. Like, I don't know. Maybe Hafley will do more of a locker room guys type team, because I think you need that camaraderie.
Yeah.
Well, the intel from Combine Week is that the Dolphins won't trade Jalen Waddle or Devon Achane. Those are considered cornerstones to build around, just like your fantasy team. So they're not blowing it all up. They're just trying to create cap flexibility and get rid of some of the daycare hours with Tyreek Hill, I think.
Yeah, the biggest unknown is the quarterback situation, right? Everyone's connecting them right now to Malik Willis, but one analyst who covers things closely said he's not convinced that they're going to spend the upwards of $30 million a year on Willis in year 1 of what is expected to be a rebuild. So the thinking is they'd rather invest in the offensive line, maybe find a cost-effective bridge there.
The name being floated that I find most interesting for Miami, Mac Jones.
Another Alabama kid.
The 49ers are asking for a second-round pick or more in any trade, but financially, Jones is cheap. $1.4 million base salary. And one analyst pointed out he ranked 9th among qualifying quarterbacks in EPA per attempt the year he thrived in San Francisco. And he's only 27. Miami's new offensive coordinator comes from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree, which is exactly where Jones played his best ball.
Yeah, it would be kind of a wild move. I don't know that I would love it. I think if they were going to do that, I'd rather just give Quinn Ewers a full season just to see, Maybe
was
he's
Quinn
not-
Ewers 7th in EPA per attempt last year?
I said give
in
him a
this
shot,
system?
right? Like in a rebuild, I don't know, man. Like I'd be happy to see what we got. We drafted him for a reason, right? He played a few games last year, looked okay.
The
Could have been
old
better, could have been
coach
worse.
and
So,
old GM drafted him in
true.
the 7th round.
that's true.
Ask Sam Howell how much that matters after the guy that took
Hey.
you is gone.
I'm just saying, Drake May had a not great first year and then was in a Super Bowl. I'd just be curious to see what he looks like with a full offseason, expecting to be the starter, that sort of thing.
I would rather see a guy that was taken in the first round, flushed out of your division, rehabbed, and come back to give the Patriots hell. That would be better for me.
If that's how that
you
story unfolded, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. Mac Jones just needs to live south. He did great
Right.
Alabama. You just need to put him in Miami. Get him down there.
We'll see. All right, what do you have on your Broncos?
Wait, we have one more thing we missed. Carson Beck from Miami has been mentioned in some context as somebody the new GM might be targeting. He hasn't coming out yet, but that's somebody you guys have to be keeping an eye on.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm not sure if he is. Is he coming out?
No, he's not.
Okay.
He just changed his mind. He's staying in.
Gotcha.
That's
yeah.
what-
I mean, so
not this
future.
year.
Right? Yeah, potentially down the line. We'll see.
If we've covered anything, this is a one quarterback draft right
Yeah.
now, and then there's a bunch of guys that if you like them, get them at the right price. But these guys are who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We could be eating crow. That's what they said Mahomes year too. The Broncos don't have a first-round pick this year, so no top 10 drama for us. But the interesting Broncos-adjacent story from the Combine is around John Franklin Myers, my favorite law firm and putter of men on their back. The interior pass rush, who was in Denver, the intel there is he's headed to Tennessee. So the Broncos are probably going to let him walk. I mean, JFM has been great, but the Broncos have too many dogs to pay. And we talked about this all season. I was like, borrow time. They got John Franklin Myers from the Jets for like freaking 2 peanuts.
Yeah.
And he was so good.
Yeah. Sometimes all you need is just to leave the Jets.
Amen.
What about some big free agent targets in Denver?
The Broncos have needs at edge rusher and along the line a little bit more the defensive line than the offensive line, I think. But Trey Hendrickson is the top free agent in the entire class, ranked number 1 in the free agent rankings, projected at 3 years, $99 million. He's got 74.5 sacks since 2020, third most in the league. He was only in 7 games last year due to injury, but when healthy, he's elite. The Bengals apparently have zero interest in keeping him per people at the Combine, so there will be a massive market for him.
Yeah, sounds like if they can afford it, that's a very Denver type move, right? A team that's already close, adding a piece like that strong, that's a Broncos move.
A team that's finally out from under the Russell Wilson money and can actually spend in free agency.
That's right.
But the other name to watch for Denver, Jalen Phillips, edge rusher out of now the Eagles. I believe he was drafted by
the Dolphins. That's right.
Ranked 2nd in the free agent class rankings via The Athletic. Projected 4 years, $98 million. 27 years old. He's ascending. He was traded from Miami to Philly at the deadline last year and had an immediate impact. So it's a young guy on the rise.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, he was great in Miami. That's one of the reasons they let him go is because they're in cap hell already. So that was just something to get out from under where they could.
Let's rapid fire some of the top available names and what the intel says about their markets.
Let's do it.
Kenneth Walker III. The Super Bowl MVP running back from Seattle rushed 27 times for 135 yards and 2 scores in the Super Bowl against New England. He is free agent number 7 in the overall rankings, projected 4 years, $52 million. But the buzz is that one source at the Combine said flat out the Giants want him. Seattle is expected to lose him. Seattle loves him, but they're not willing to go to 12 or 13 million a year for a running back, specifically when they were only using him part-time before they needed to. But they've essentially told his camp, go test the market, and if it comes back around 10 million, come talk to us again.
Yeah, the Giants with a Super Bowl MVP running back is great. And I mean, someone there to kind of help as Scatterbo gets back from his injury and even spell him when he is back in full swing would be nice.
Travis Kelce's a free agent. I mean, he's only number 52 on this list, but 24th in yards per route among tight ends last year. One analyst said he's no longer the kind of player who can carry a passing offense as a number 1 option. he tied for the lead among tight ends in drops, which I remember. I mean, 36 years old. Chiefs may or may not bring him back.
Yeah, it might be the end of Kelsey, right?
Who? I hope. I've been waiting. Leave.
Yeah, I was waiting
Travis.
quite a while for the end of Brady, so.
Yeah, but Tom Brady hasn't been running a successful podcast for several years with his retired brother and about to marry the biggest pop star on the planet. You've got stuff to do, Travis. GTFO. Most drops among a tight end. You're the best thing Mahomes has. Wait, actually, I've changed my mind. He could stay. Pay him a lot. Pay him a lot and keep running him because he can't catch anymore. Never mind.
He's a crowd draw. He gets eyes on televisions.
Turn my whole mood around. I mean, Tyreek Hill ranked 136th in the free agent class. That tells you everything. Devastating knee injury in week 4. Dislocation and multiple ligament tears. Dolphins already cut him. 32 years old. Question is whether the explosion in speed come back. Because, I mean, the market is heavily contingent on health reports. Could be a 1-year prove-it deal with incentives just to pay some of that alimony.
We'll see. We'll see. I think a team's obviously going to pick him up. There's at least value in having him on the field and having a corner pay attention to him. So I think we've seen his prime, between the later Kansas City years and the earlier Miami years. I think, he's over the hill in that regard, but we'll see what happens.
Trey Hendrickson again to put a bow on it, the top free agent overall. Number 1 edge rusher available. The Bengals don't want him back. One source at the combine was empathetic. No love lost between the two sides. Wherever he lands, he's walking into a team that desperately wanted him.
Right. Yeah. Empathetic and emphatic there.
Okay, this is the fun part. Silly season, except it's NFL. Free agency doesn't officially open until Monday, but negotiating window opens today. At the NFL Combine last week, people were talking, and one fantasy football analyst who's been going to the Combine for a decade sat in bars and hotel lobbies and asked everybody the same question. What have you heard?
Right. This is the best time of year, right?
None of this is confirmed. This is unsubstantiated Combine hallway intel, but we're reporting it as news because Matthew Berry put it up in his article, which you can read for free if you don't want to listen to us talk about it. If you're like, what did they mention? He put this up on his NBC platform, which is free now. So Derek Carr retired, 34 years old. Intel from inside the Saints organization is that they expect him to unretire and play in 2026. And that if he does, they'll try to trade him. The name that kept coming up as a destination, the Jets.
Of course it's the Jets. Always the Jets. Okay.
One beat reporter who covers the Raiders heard it was the Vikings for Carr, not the Jets. So the destination is unclear, but the Carr unretires part seems to have legs.
What about the Vikings quarterback situation overall? A lot of smoke there.
A lot of smoke. Hit the smoke sound effect. We got one?
I don't know that we have one of those.
The intel is that Minnesota is not sold on J.J. McCarthy. They'll keep him. They'll try to develop him, but they want a legitimate veteran in that building who will shock J.J. into understanding the starting job is not guaranteed. One source said, if you had to bet today on the Vikings week 1 starter, take the field over McCarthy.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, part of the reason is that by midseason last year, the team reportedly had to scale back the playbook because McCarthy was struggling to pick up the entire offense. That's a concern.
Yeah.
The names being floated for Minnesota, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith if he becomes available, and this will get people talking, Aaron Rodgers. Apparently Kevin O'Connell wanted Rodgers last year, but the organization as a whole wasn't on board. With front office changes, Rodgers is back on their radar. Though the intel is that if Rodgers comes back, he's leaning toward returning to Pittsburgh.
So Rodgers to the Vikings still might be a smokescreen.
Yeah, the intel also was that they'd look at Kirk Cousins, which makes intuitive sense, but a reunion seems unlikely. Quote, Joe Flacco's name came up, Anthony Richardson by trade, and one analyst said he could also see them targeting a cheaper veteran option rather than paying big for someone they'd have to immediately crown as a starter over J.J. McCarthy.
And what about Kyler Murray? Where do we see him landing?
Nobody knows, including apparently Kyler. The Cardinals are releasing him or plan to, and the trade was attempted, but there's not much market. The Jets were mentioned. Atlanta was mentioned. Minnesota. One analyst said anyone who tells you they know where Kyler lands is lying because Kyler himself doesn't know yet.
And Malik Willis?
The intel on Willis was pretty consistent. Arizona is the betting favorite to land him. The Cardinals GM was in Tennessee's front office when they drafted Willis, so there's familiarity. And one source of the combine said Malik Willis to Arizona for $30 million market. Whether the number is right, we'll find out, but Arizona seems like the destination.
All right.
A couple of running back nuggets. I mean, what do you think, Mike LaFleur with Malik Willis?
Yeah,
you get the backup LaFleur and the backup quarterback from Green Bay, and you take them to Arizona to the desert.
Right. I mean, people seem to think Malik Willis is something. So if Arizona wants to roll the dice on him, then I say go for it. Let's see what happens over there.
He was a guy like Anthony Richardson when he got drafted. When he came out, he didn't go as high, but he was a guy that had all the tools that needed to develop. Well, he's been here a while now.
Right. I remember you were pretty high on him coming out.
Yeah, well, in our area where I live, right near Liberty University. So Malik Willis was,
Yep.
Couple of running back nuggets. We already talked about how Kenneth Walker is expected to walk from Seattle. The Dolphins are expected not to trade Waddle or Achane. Travis Etienne was mentioned as a potential landing spot for both New Orleans and Kansas City. So we cannot worry about Jeremiah Love going there if they sign Etienne, probably, but they might just bring in as many running backs as they can to get it going. One that surprised me, one analyst heard that the Titans had Jeremiah Love rated as the best player in this entire draft, regardless of position, and that they might just take him at 4 with best player available logic. Love at 4, not 9 for the Chiefs, which better for the Titans, better for Robert Saleh, a defensive coach who needs to run the rock.
Right. That would be wild, though, seeing him go 4 to Tennessee.
And speaking of Tennessee, one source said the intel on Washington's offense under new coordinator David Blow is that it's going to look like a Ben Johnson offense. Lots of motion, play action, strong run game, trick plays, and that Deebo Samuel is not expected to return to Washington. Terry McLaurin's 2026 might also be his last year there. So
it kind of seems like they're blowing that thing up too. Crazy to think they were in the championship game a couple years ago.
I told you they'd have a bad year somehow.
You did.
And one more, because this one came up more than once and it's interesting. At the combine, there was buzz about the Bengals having zero interest in keeping Trey Hendrickson. So we already talked about how there was no love lost on both sides, and we knew that Hendrickson had demanded a trade going back to last year. But interesting to find out that the Bengals are also done with it.
Yeah.
Last section, let's get through it real quick. I mean, just on the quarterbacks we haven't covered, which I think we covered most of them, but Kyler Murray to the Jets would feel like a little bit of an overreaction to me. Joe Flacco anywhere feels like you're reaching. Anthony Richardson, where could you see him going?
Anthony Richardson, I don't really know, honestly. I don't know that he's going to be capable of starting anywhere, right? Like, I just maybe the Vikings, like you mentioned, maybe do a trade for him, but that's about all I see.
Yeah, I mean, and the Falcons might be on the quarterback market as well because Michael Penix Jr. was hurt, partially torn ACL back in November. So when's he going to be ready? If Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back, the Steelers need a quarterback. Cleveland might add more quarterbacks to their 3-quarterback party they already got to see who's a better starter. If Deshaun Watson can still take that job, you could be wrong, Sean.
Right. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, you mentioned Cleveland. That's somewhere that Anthony Richardson could go, just given that they seem to have a revolving door there.
For those that did not get the reference, Sean said famously about a year or two ago that Deshaun Watson would not play another down as a starting quarterback in the NFL, let alone for the Cleveland Browns.
I did say that, and I still believe that.
I mean, Todd Monken could be one that could go after Anthony Richardson's athletic gifts, the way he developed Lamar Jackson's. I mean, that might make sense as somebody to add in there.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a revolving door.
Yeah.
It's the whole Browns, right?
I really like this Mac Jones to the Dolphins thing. That makes a lot of sense when you look at it.
Sure. I mean, it's even if they do want to give Quinn Ewers a shot, that can't be your entire quarterback room, right? Tua's not going to be there. So I'd be happy to bring him in for competition, if nothing else, you know?
Well, free agency opens Monday. The quarterback carousel is going to spin fast. We'll be tracking all of it. Stay tuned to the Wit and Grit show.
Yes,
Sean,
sir.
we're going to have to get to F1 another time. We're up against the clock. We talked about NFL and Scrubs for too long. Apologies for our
stuff.
F1 audience, though.
We're passionate about both, so pardon us.
Yeah, if we have time later today, or maybe we'll just get back next week, we'll talk more F1 with you guys.
We make it an F1 heavy weekend next weekend, review some Melbourne stuff, look ahead. But we definitely want to touch on it, just like you said, up against the clock a little bit today.
Yep.
I wanted to make the time for you guys. Wanted to get out there because, love talking with you guys. Love sharing the news and our opinions. And Ian loves talking.
I do. I'm good at it.
Yeah.
All right. Peace out.
Later, y'all.
Dan has been sleeping.